Good afternoon, viewers. I've got heaps and heaps of stories up here to share today, so I thought I'd just start with them and start with this one. After Isil, French woman held in Syria, say they're ready for home. Detained after fleeing the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant, groups crumbling Syrian holdout. Two women from France say they're ready to go home if they are judged fairly. Fuck you, if they are judged fairly. Behind the fence of a camp in Kurdish-held territory in Syria, the detainees wore long-faced veils that only showed their eyes and were accompanied by 3 children. Look at that. That's fucking scary, man. Alright, that's some scary shit right there. From the outset, the French woman warned AFP would not give any personal details in order to protect their families back home, but the most talkative, a 29-year-old from the region of Lyon in France, "We're not animals, we're human beings, we have a heart, we have a soul," she said, her blue eyes staring straight ahead. Kurdish-led forces have now hemmed that Isil fighters in less than a kilometre square of territory in the village of Mgtow and say their only choice is to surrender. France is hesitating to bring back women thought to belong to Isil and their children. Their repatriation is a sensitive topic in a country that has suffered a series of Isil attacks since 2015. And French authorities are even more suspicious of men and women who stay with Isil until the bitter end. And the second woman, who is in her 30s, said she, her husband and 3 children fled the last Isil holdout earlier this month. "We didn't agree with the Isil fighter," she said, with a slight French accent, "but we couldn't say anything." Her companion insisted the Isil fighters scared us. They'd say, "We'll slit your throats, we'll rape you." After weeks of bombardment and food shortages as the Syrian Defence Forces moved in, she said she slipped $50 to a smuggler so she and her 2 young boys could escape. Now both women say they are ready to go home. But the 29-year-old has conditions. She wants conditions. She has conditions, okay? To be able to practice Islam as she sees fit and to remain close to the children she has left. She recounts how she lost 2 children, aged just 2 and 6, a few years ago in bombardment. So this woman has had 5 children to this man. Fucking 5 kids she's had to this fucking bloke. But she claims she is not bent on revenge. No, she just wants to flood the fucking world with your kids. "I've had my children killed. It's not tomorrow that I'm going to go and kill someone," she said. "They'll rip our kids away." The 2 women claim that they led peaceful lives under Isil and that their husbands held civilian jobs, but it was not immediately possible to verify their accounts. They say they become disillusioned by the reality of living in the caliphate and that Isil proclaimed across large swathes of Syria and neighbouring Iraq in 2014. The group executed lots of people for nothing, without proof, even Muslims, the young woman said, claiming her husband was killed, but they do not condemn the deadly Isil attacks on the Charlie Hebdo satirical newspaper and something concert hall in France in 2015. The people who did that wanted to avenge French airstrikes in Syria, the woman from Lyon said. Already, she says, the pair fear that what might happen to their young boys if they return to France and are arrested. They'll rip our kids away from us, put them in homes and foster families. They'll be separated from each other and grow up with values against the education we want to give them. And what education did you want to give them, love? That fucking Islam is real peaceful and it's just a great fucking religion and ideology? Yeah, you want to give them that, right? That's the education that you want them to know. There are lots of things in France against our religion, homosexuality, for example. But both hope that if they put on trial, they get short sentences. I hope we'll be judged fairly, case by case, for not everything that group did. The older woman said she did not want a short, commutable prison sentence so she can see her children. They're all I've got after my husband was detained. You're fucking right he's detained, love, because he's killing fucking people. He's bombing fucking people, beheading people over there. Personally, ladies and gentlemen, they made the bed, let them lie in it. They want to go over there and they want to have multiple children with these Isil fighters and bombers and killers, and they want to go to Syria and they leave a peaceful country to go over there to do that. Then I say leave them there. I say leave them there. They're buried, right? They've married these blokes. They've had kids with them. They've got families with them. Mate, you have fucking chosen your path. Now you need to lie in that bed, okay? No offence or anything, but you need to stay the fuck in that country where you went over to and you think was so great underneath the caliphate of Islam. So personally, ladies and gentlemen, I think they should just leave them all there. Don't let any of them come home at all. They're doing the same thing here in Australia where the Isil brides are wanting to come back home to Australia, and the government here is allowing them to come back with all their kids. And you got to realise this woman will never get a job. She'll never fucking work. All of her kids, all of her is all on Centrelink. The whole thing is on Centrelink. Centrelink, the whole family. And she'll continue to have more and more kids. Don't worry about that. And again, they'll be claimed on Centrelink. So no, ladies and gentlemen, my personal opinion, they made the bed. Now they need to sleep in it. So leave them exactly where they are. Anyway, that's just one of my things I wanted to show you today. See ya.